Okay, this is Steve, Dichroic Glassman. In this series of videos, doing this abstract panel, dichroic elements that I make here in my shop, this is about this thick bevel business. Thick bevels, thick jewels. And on the previous video you saw how I copper foil a bevel like this. Now, I've soldered the back of this panel. And in case there was any confusion in the previous video, this should clarify that. What I have now is a hole. Because this is so thick, I did not want to solder it on a level like this where the bevel stood up too high. So what we're doing here is I created this hole and I put some pieces of my pattern in this hole because, let's use an X-Acto knife. You see here I put solder balls on the edge of my panel. And the reason I put these solder balls is because when I solder my zinc on there, I can hold my zinc with this hand and drag the solder right over each ball. So I don't have to need three hands. I can hold the solder in place like this with my hands, holding it tight up against the joint, and simply solder as I go. Put flux, solder, flux, solder, flux, solder, flux, solder. You get the point. Well, if I look at it on the edge, because I've soldered the bottom, see I've created a depth here. And if I sink that bevel, this thick bevel, into that hole, it's going to drop down and it'll be too high on the other side of this window. So I propped it up with a little bit of paper in here. Maybe we can even throw one more piece on there. Now it's going to even up that space. See, it's right even with the glass, almost. It's just a hair under. Okay, I put a key, a line, and a line, so I've got to match up my bevel. This bevel fits so snugly in that hole. As I press this down, I see that it's still a little bit too high. What we're trying to do is, instead of having this bevel sticking up so high above the rest of these pieces of glass, that I'm going to take out another piece of paper, line that back up. Now that fits pretty nicely. If I showed you my edge, this look there. It's not sticking up that much higher. But I got to imagine that on the other side, I've got about the same distance. That way, you're not going to see this bevel sticking way up here. Obviously, I'm over-exaggerating, but it's not going to be jumping out at you. It's evened up from the other side and this side, the top and the bottom side, and the bevel is sort of split the difference. That way, you don't have bevels and jewels that are sticking hugely above the rest of your piece. You're sort of evening it up. Half on the back side, half on this side. I hope that kind of clarifies and makes sense. So after I solder this in place, I'll solder my zinc all the way around. I'll flip the window over, solder the zinc on the back side, and of course this bevel. Then I have to go through all my other procedures in getting this panel done. I have to wash it, I have to patina it, I have to wash it again, and then I polish it. But anyway, hopefully that adds some clarity to this window. I'll try to video this window. I'm shipping them out next week, 4 of these windows. This is a 6-foot panel, and you'll really get a kick out of what this is going to look like finished, where you can see the brilliant colors and the dichroic elements that I put in here, these dichroic bevels. This is dichroic baroque. I have that made. This is dichroic sycamore. This is dichroic flute. What's flute? Well, this is flute. That line stuff, that's red silver. This is baroque. Here's a dichroic bevel. Here's emerald green crossreed. Here's cyan floreal. Here is cyan copper figure C. Here's blue gold baroque. Here's blue gold baroque. Here's a dichroic bevel that I make, a dichroic jewel that I made. This is silver, so this is going to show up red. This is cyan copper. This is blue. This is cyan copper. Here's cyan red, ice. And what's ice? This is ice. Spectrum ice. And then I have it coated with dichro. I'm one of only 3 people on a normal basis at CBS Glass that has stained glass textures coated. In fact, I've got an order going in. Here's a 19-inch circle of flute that I'm going to have coated. Haven't decided. I might have it coated with reptile. I might have it coated with pixie sticks, green, magenta, blue. Who knows? But you can bet when I get it done, it's going to be awesome. And if you want some of this stuff, just contact me. I've had thin reed done. Every texture on here from thin reed I've had done in Dichro. I haven't done this one called Matrix or circuit board. I don't remember. I haven't had that one done yet because that's a relatively new texture, within a year or two. I haven't had that done. Here's cross reed. That's in clear. Thin reed. Cross reed again. Thin reed. Flute. Here's crocodile. I've had that done a couple times. Here's figure C in clear. Figure C is made by Wismach. Pretty fun stuff. Anyway, hopefully this bevel issue, raised jewels, raised bevels, helps you in your endeavors. And thank you for watching my videos as always. Bye-bye.